First of all, Minister, I too want to congratulate you on the birth of your child and wish you well for the future. I'm glad, of course, that the deadline of the 30th of November has been set aside. It's something that I called for when I came up here early in 2016. I called for it numerous times this year in the chamber here inside. I asked the Taoiseach, in light of the fact that the COVID and the coronavirus, that workings were not going on as they should have been, and at least extended for that space of time. But this is better. You're going to do something more, and I appreciate that. And I realise it's not going to be very easy. You see, the deadline was wrong in many ways. First of all, not everyone knew about the deadline, and those that did were very worried about it and didn't know what to do. And that's something, whatever rules will be made next June, at least they need to be publicised so that everyone knows, and there needs to be a lot of interaction in here and out there and everywhere to ensure that we get it right. Because whether it is by long usage or whatever, and we're reverting to that now, we're reverting to that for the interim period, because there will be people today, tomorrow and every day looking to rectify their situation. I mean, we had an instance where a Dublin couple bought a house in rural Kerry, and after 6 or 7 years they wanted to sell it. And lo and behold, they had to get the signatures of 14 people along the road before they could sell it, and before the sale could go through. So rights of ways, there has been disputes, there has been rows, and certainly there were a recipe for rows that lasted years and years. And sadly, I know of one case where, not too very far away from me, where one of the people involved in the right of way dispute lost some of his faculties, and he was never again the same man after a row, and a serious row. You see, this thing of instituting legal proceedings against neighbours and getting them to sign, that's all wrong. What I'd be saying to neighbours is, at least try and go as far as he can on agreeing. Ask the neighbour, do you mind me registering over your land, and go that far, because what was happening, letters were coming out from solicitor's office from a neighbour to a neighbour, and that was very hurtful and caused rancour and dispute right away. This deadline was wrong in another scenario as well, where you had to have been using the right of way for 12 years. Now, some people would maybe have been using it 10 or 11 by the 30th of November coming up, and they couldn't register then, and that meant that they would have to go back to the start again and to gain long usage again. That aspect of the 2009 bill was very, very wrong. So there's an awful lot of work to be done, Minister, to ensure we get it right. I mean, the disputes over rights of ways and bound ditches, they have been keeping the courts very busy, going back, and we do need to get it right, and we need to advertise it and give some kind of allowance for submissions to be made by independently or by parties or whatever, to see how the new system would operate, so that we get it right. A lot of people must be allowed to have an input to ensure that we do get it right this time, because there's things like the width of the right of way and all that needs to be sorted out, because otherwise there's going to be need for more court cases, and And that's the thing, that court cases are very costly on whoever loses. And if we could avoid that and have some simpler systems so that people wouldn't have to revert to that, that's what I'm calling for, Minister. And Minister, I do thank the government for acceding to my request of extending the deadline, or at least until next year, until they bring forward some new proposals.